In this video, you are going to learn how you can become immune to other people's insults. First of all, we're going to break down why it's of vital importance for you to learn the steps that you need to take to become immune to other people's insults. Then we're going to learn how you can deal with them internally so you cannot be affected by them inside of your mind. And then finally, we're going to learn how you can deal with them externally. What you need to say when other people insult you and how you need to act when other people insult you. And we're not just going to be talking about the theory here. We're going to be jumping in onto my laptop. We'll be looking at flowcharts that will show you the exact steps that you need to take to become immune to other people's insults, both inside of your mind, but also how to deal with them externally. So there's two main reasons why you need to become very, very good at dealing with people when they insult you. And the first one is that when people insult you, that is something outside of your control. You do not have complete control of other people's actions and what other people say to you. Therefore, if other people insult you, that is outside of your control. And if you're not very proficient at dealing with this insult in a healthy and efficient way, then you're letting yourself be disturbed by events that are outside of your control. And by letting yourself be affected and emotionally affected by events outside of your control, you're giving up control over your mind. You're letting somebody else take control of your mind and dictate what's going on in your mind. This is deadly to your personal development journey and deadly to this kind of results and the kind of thoughts you're going to be getting in your life, because by letting other people dictate what you're thinking, you're not in control of your own thoughts. You can't decide what you think, and if you can't decide what you think, you can't decide what you do, and if you can't decide what you do, you can't decide what results you're getting. So in effect, by letting other people get inside of your mind and affect what's going on in there, you're letting them decide what actions you take and what results you get in life. And this is crucial that you get proficient at dealing with insults. And the second reason is that by letting someone into your mind, and when they insult you, and if you dwell on that thought and you keep replaying that thought, you think, why did they say that? Why are they doing this? And you keep going over in your mind, is it true what they said? Is it false what they said? Are they saying this for a good reason? Am I actually a bad person? Am I actually bad at what they told me they're doing? By giving that space of your mind to them, you are effectively giving up parts of your resources. Because what goes on in your mind, every single thought that you have can be thought of as a resource. And these resources can either be positive. You could be thinking, I can do great things in this life. I'm very, very virtuous. You can have great thoughts, and that's good, but you can also have negative thoughts that are going to be doing damage to your mind. So if you let other people's insults get to you, you're giving up some of your real estate, your mental real estate, to them and letting negative thoughts get into your mind, and those negative thoughts are going to replay and replay over and over again, gradually doing damage to you over and over again. And that's why you need to stick around right until the end of this video, where I show you how to deal with insults internally and then externally. At the moment, let's get into how to deal with them internally and how you can remove the sting to insults just like that. So the very first step to becoming immune to other people's insults is learning how to deal with them internally. Now this is the most important step, because if you can manage to deal with other people's insults effectively, efficient and healthily, then you're going to be able to have a tranquil mind and not let yourself be affected by other people's words, which again is something that you can't control. Now, to learn how to deal with these insults effectively, it's just a simple one-step flowchart. You ask yourself one very specific question that will determine the course of action that you need to take when it comes to dealing with this insult. And that very specific question that you need to ask yourself is, do I value this person's opinion? And it's very simple. You just ask yourself that question. As soon as you're insulted, you say, do I value this person's opinion? Now, there's two answers, yes, and then no. You can either value this person's opinion, or you cannot value this person's opinion. And if the answer is yes, you do value this person's opinion, then you've got to be careful, because this person is someone whose opinion you value. This person is someone you look up to. This person who is as a rational person, which is the only kind of person that you should look up to, that means that they are very unlikely to insult you for no reason whatsoever. They're insulting you because they have a reason to insult you. And if that's the case, you do value this person and they're a rational person, then you must say, is there some truth to what they're asking me? So that's the next question. Is there truth to what they're saying? And if the answer to that is yes, again, there can be two answers. Yes and no. If there is truth to what they're saying, then you should not be insulted by it, because what they're telling you is true. Therefore, you should just do what they're saying, or do the opposite of what they're saying if they're insulting you. Because first of all, you value their opinion, and you now know that what they're insulting you about is true. You also know that they're a rational person that's unlikely to insult you for any reason. Therefore, if you can control the thing that they're insulting you about, you should just go ahead and simply change it. That is the best way to deal with that flowchart in the most effective way possible. Now, if you do value this person's opinion, but there isn't truth to what you're saying, then you must say, well, this person is not rational, or at least based on his evidence, he is making a conclusion that is not correct. Therefore, you just simply ignore what he's saying, because although you value what he's saying, there is no truth to it. So why would you be insulted by something where there is no truth to? Now, if the person that's insulting you, you don't value his opinion, then this is the easiest one. Because why would you be insulted? Why would you listen to anything that someone has to say whose opinion you don't value? Maybe this person is irrational. Maybe this person doesn't like you, excuse my drawing. Then that's the most simple one, because if you don't value their opinion, then straight away you've got to train your brain just to not deal with that insult. If you don't value your opinion, you shouldn't look with it. Now again, some of you may be thinking that this is easier said than done, but the only way to do it is to try and rewire your brain by making logical conclusions. And when you can make these logical conclusions, which is the 3 outcomes that I've just told you, then your brain has no other choice but to accept that the insult is not something that should disturb you. Because essentially, your emotional side of your brain is going to get upset by this insult. But if you constantly remind that emotional side of your brain that there is a logical reason that you should not be insulted, over time, if you keep repeating to yourself, and every time that emotional side is flagged up, you keep correcting that emotional side of your brain with the logical side of the brain, then your brain has no choice but to believe what is repeated to it most often. So that simple flowchart is the best way for you to deal with emotions effectively. Now finally, how you can deal with insults externally. What you say to other people when they insult you, how you act when other people insult you. And there's 2 methods and 2 methods only that you can use in the most effective and most efficient way when people insult you. Now the first one is called agree and amplify. This means very simply that someone insults you, you agree with what they're saying, and you make it humorous by amplifying it. So if someone says to you, you are ugly, you say, yeah, I know I'm ugly. I'm so ugly that even my parents frown at me, or even my parents scoff at me. See, by doing this, you're agreeing with what they're saying, you're amplifying it to make it comedic, and by doing this, you're showing that you are not affected by their insults. You're making a insult that most people would take to heart, you're turning it into humorous, and you're showing that you are not affected by other people's insults. So the first one is agree and amplify. Now a lot of people when they hear this, they say, no, this is bad, you should stand up and you should defend yourself. But the most sign of weakness, the biggest sign of weakness, is when you're defending your opinion. Have you ever said that someone says to you something like, you're fat, and you say, no, I'm not, I'm actually below average? You see, by defending yourself, you're showing weakness. You're showing that what they're saying to you is affecting you on an emotional level. So the first way to deal with insults in an effective way is to agree and amplify. And the second and final one is the most simple one. You simply ignore it. You simply brush it off. You pretend they didn't say it and you just move on the conversation. Now this is the most stoic with the capital S way of dealing with an insult, because it shows that you're simply unperturbed by what other people, external circumstances, have to say to you. Now, this is it. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure you give it a like, and if you're new around here, then make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.